Welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Speaking with authors, entrepreneurs, founders, and coaches to learn their strategies for a more resilient life so we can all build the life we love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. So today's guest, this is going to be a little bit longer here. I'm super excited because this gal has totally crushed it. She is doing some really awesome things. So I'm going to give you the entire bio. And if I stumble, it's just because I get a little excited. So work with me here, folks. Kenya Lee is a registered nurse, artist, author, and women's empowerment expert. She grew up in Detroit, Michigan, where the struggles of urban childhood and adolescence fueled her passion for helping young girls and women thrive in their life. Her life journey to evolve into emotional wellness was preceded by hardship that threatened her very ability to succeed in life. She survived many life challenges, including domestic violence and fetal maternal loss. Kenya has practiced nursing for over 23 years in several areas of medicine, with the primary focus of public health nursing and mental health. She has assisted many women to navigate their self awareness and obtain optimal mental health. Kenya's path is documented in her new book, The Path to Emotional Greatness Yielding the Personal Transformation, The Path to Egypt. She wrote this inspirational workbook to help women achieve mental clarity and emotional well being. This very practical, pardon me, folks. This I've been out of practice here. It's been a week off. um, this very practical workbook details her journey and offers strategies on how other women may persevere in similar struggles. Kenya provides approaches that are both informative and are proven to be effective in overcoming trauma and gaining inner awareness. In a quest to help women, the nonprofit organization Faith in Girls, Inc., FIG, was founded by Kenya in 2012. The organization focuses on empowerment and self awareness. In 2022, FIG launched the Detroit Women's Home Ownership Program. This program is designed to assist single mothers to achieve financial literacy and home ownership. For more information, you can go to our website, but we're going to dive into this conversation because Kenya is tackling so many incredibly important aspects right now. But first, welcome to the show, Kenya.
Thank you, Kim. It's a pleasure for you having me. I'm so excited on the first, well, almost the first of the year, but the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's a great way to
2023.
launch the year, eh? Strong
Yeah,
women making it happen. All
that's
righty.
right.
I want to dive into first who is Kenya? Because, we all assume when we see these great things that we do that you must have been born like with money and connections and maybe a silver spoon. But that's not so often, that is not even, that's the total opposite of the case. Can you share with us who you are?
So I'm a girl, well, a woman now, but I'm a girl from Detroit that loves to paint. Acrylic paints are like really my thing. I go into my zone, put my music on, and just create these. Sometimes people say a little odd paintings. But I'm just a woman that is just fueled with creating things. I love to create and I love to see different places. So my passion is traveling and diving into other cultures and seeing what's going on in the rest of the world.
And painting is in a creative side. And what's interesting is you're also in the medical industry. And actually, medical and painting are in the same side of the brain. It's really fascinating because that's the creation side. So let's dive a little bit into what do you do or what don't you do. I'd like to start with your philanthropy work, because this is a big thing for me. I believe everybody should give a few hours every month to a charity to work for the cause of others. Can you start with that piece of the pie for me?
So in 2011, I was in a place where I felt that I was feeling better because I had been on such a roller coaster of emotional ups and downs. And I'm like, what can I do to help others feel as good as I was feeling at that time? So I created the organization FIG, and I created it in Los Angeles because that is my second home. It's actually where I am right now. And I began to team up with some other incredible women, just going out and helping other women to create and learn how creation in terms of art and writing can just transform their emotional path. And so FIG is founded on that basis of creation. Now we have expanded since, but we give coping skills and life skills and form workshops to help women to understand their real truth and awareness. So Faith in Girls is a wonderful organization. We are really just working now in Detroit, primarily partnering with the city of Detroit with homes for underserved women. Women, everyone, as you said, nobody's, well, some people are born with a silver spoon, but I certainly was not. Okay. So with FIG, it was founded to allow women to understand their worth and to reach a plateau that they may not be able to reach with not having those resources.
Well, and you just said a key word there, worth. So it is really fascinating. So the first 4 years of our life creates programming in our brain that is there for the rest of your life, right? And not all of us get the leave it to beaver, ma pa and the backyard swing of first 4 years. Most of us have dysregulated parenting happening for us. So, I mean, it's all compounded, right? But you said the word worth. And in today's world, we equate worth to wealth, like financial, to money. And I think that that is one of the things that really it's so compounded with women. We're taught not to talk about money. We're not taught how to manage money. We're not, there's so many things going on here. And then when you layer in worth, I'd love to dive into that because we are in a housing crisis in North America. In the United States, there's over 4.5 million short on affordable housing. And in Canada, we're at 10% of that because we're at 10% of the population. So this is a common thing around the world, affordable housing, giving people a sense of security. How do you tackle the core issue of worth? A lot of women don't feel they're worth their own house.
Absolutely. And, you have to first tackle the inside. I believe that our outer lives are a reflection of what's going on inside. So when you go in and you teach women or show them that the obstacles or the shortcomings that they've gone through is not who they are, it's just something that happened and they can overcome those, that is where the worth is built. And also being self-aware. For me, I had no understanding of self-awareness because that's something that we're not taught, you know. So I fell into a multitude of pitfalls that kind of aided me into going to the left, so to speak. So when you teach a woman her worth, she wants better. She wants to do better for her family. She wants to have some foundation, and a lot of us are not given that. So with FIG, we are allowing women that can't qualify for a traditional mortgage. They can't go out and say, "Hey, I'm going to go to the bank and I have this 800 credit score," but they are hardworking women that maintain a household, that take care of their family. So now we position them to have something of their own. And I mean, you know as well as me, Kim, how good do you feel to say this is mine? I have this, and no one can take it away. I have to do the steps to make sure that I complete this task. So in doing that, it creates a sense of pride within yourself. So many times we go outside of ourselves. So, like you said, wealth or the academic accolades, having the perfect relationship, all of these things are outside of ourselves. But we have to first go within to know who we are and to get that worth so that we can climb in the pyramid of life.
Absolutely. And real estate, in any way that you can, um, pardon me, in any way that you can actually own a piece of real estate. First podcast of the year. I'm trying to get that voice
Okay,
back. Um, any way that we can own real estate. There's REITs, there's pools, there's private lenders, there's so many options and opportunities. And yet, if you don't see your own worth internally, you don't know the right questions to ask. That's
absolutely.
that is I'm finding that this is more about knowing the questions to ask than anything else, right? In this world,
Mhm,
everything's
mhm.
available online. Every there's a solution, and I personally watched my mother go through this. So my mom, and ladies, let me know if anybody out there can align with this story. My mom, at 37 years of age, was left with four daughters, bankrupt, homeless, and very in an abuse cycle, like serious abuse cycle. And she had to rebuild that. My mom worked 2 jobs, and at one point in time, God love her, she knew what was best for us. We did accept food stamps because that was the only thing that helped. We lived in my grandparents' basement apartment for years. And
Mhm.
my mother got up every day, and some days she would go to work twice. Some days she would go to work twice and have to go to school and talk about why her idiot child, Kimberly Joe, was not showing up for class. I was not the best student, folks. But my mom every day put that one foot in front of the other, right? Because she had that sphere of support that said, "You're worth this, Jerry. You're worth this." And when she bought her own home, like that pride, because she knew that in that moment, she would have something to leave her daughters.
That's right.
She
A legacy. And so many women, we're looking to make things better for ourselves, but we want to make things better for our children. I have a 3-year-old right now, and becoming a mother just completely changed me and catapulted me into a whole different sphere in terms of how I live and how I present myself. So for me, I want to be the best that I can be for her. And most women, that is how we operate. We want our children to thrive. And what better way of doing that, providing a permanent, consistent uh place to live that they can call their own, that they can have a community that they can interact with, as opposed to going from place to place. So, as you said, homelessness is a very big problem here in the United States, and it's not getting any better. And so, we've got to come up with some solutions and some untraditional ways of helping women that are capable, but need a little bit of assistance to get that dream of having a home and helping their families to thrive and to be better.
Women tend to build businesses that are based on passion points, wanting to fix something, wanting to be a solution. And you've done that with this. Um, I'm going to take this in two paths, and you can take this as to wherever you feel comfortable and confident. So there are many of us out there who want to create a foundation or do something that is a solution to a problem from when we were growing up.
Mhm.
Walk me through the business point of this. How are you as an entrepreneur? Because if you're a philanthropist, you're an entrepreneur. How are you? funding this, bringing this fully around so you can serve your community?
So originally, Kim, it started with my hard earned money because the passion it was so great within me to do it. I took my own money to get everything started. But as things started to line up and others saw what an important um, cause this was, I started receiving donations. And so right now we're operating off of grants and funding from private sector that see that homelessness and um, home ownership are an important thing for women. So, if there is someone listening that says, "Hey, I've got a passion to do whatever it is," it's a slow and steady process, but you can definitely get there. And like I said, for me, I put my all in. I've been working 23 years as a nurse, and my little savings that I had, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just throw in what I have because this is who I am. This is my purpose. So when you feel so strongly about something, you'll do whatever you have to do. So that's how it started with my own funds.
And that's interesting you say that because in the United States in 2021, I have not seen 2022 stats, but in 2021, less than 5% of traditional bank funding went to female start founded startups. And if you are a woman of color or any didn't speak the language or is anything, if there was anything that the banks picked up on, that stat actually went down to under 2%. So
Mm.
a lot of women are doing these things, bootstrapping their way. So I want to walk through one exercise with you, and I'd love to get your insight. So because you've done it successfully. So bootstrapping, going out and getting funding. So in doing this, what was the top three things that when you sat down and you were looking at who you would talk to?
Hmm.
What were those three identifying markers? How did you find your sponsors? And this is like an actionable work step. So if you're listening to this, you want to start something in your community, here's the first three things you should do if you're looking for outside sponsorship.
You got to identify your target population that you want to help. That's number one. And then after that, you have to go and see what social services or what people are helping that genre. You and reaching out to them. That's number two, because it's not going to necessarily be individuals all the time, but it can be already uh, established corporations that have this same cause as their passion, and you go to them to reach out to them and say, "Hey, I'm doing this, that, and would you like to partner with me? Would you like to, join me in my efforts?" So first, the population, knowing who exactly it is you want to help and you want to target, whether it be men, adolescents, whomever it is, and then you go to where the support is for them and talking to those organizations and those individuals. And then, thirdly, education is such a prime piece in anything. I believe that the school systems, rather it be, junior colleges or just the local school, public schools, that uh, organization can also help. So you want to tap into the educational system, the resources around your genre, and of course your genre itself to make certain that you are hitting all angles.
That that is awesome because if this is the year that you're going to launch that initiative, there you go. Who are you helping? What are the resources that are currently in place? And who's supporting that through the education space and the sponsorship space? And then why reinvent the wheel? If something's close enough, join that and see how that works.
And that is what I came to understand when I started Fig. I'm like, when you start from grassroots, you're trying to figure out which way do I go with this. But it's like it's so many other people and other organizations that have the same passion. Why invent the wheel? Go to these organizations, and most people or most organizations that are doing this kind of work, they're not in it for themselves. They're in it to help the population. So they're going to be willing to say, hey, you're doing this? Oh, yeah, I'd love to partner with you. Let me see what you're doing. Let's do a collaboration. So that is very important. So with anything, it's quite, I can't think of one thing that is not already being addressed. So you already have people out there that can assist you.
I, you said the key word there, collaboration.
Hmm.
You know, one of my absolute favorite proverbs is, "If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together." And I think that we've had enough fast food. We've had enough fast. We've spent the last 20, 30 years. We've seen collapses of, you know, Enron, and we're seeing, housing prices bubbles, and we're seeing
Yeah.
all these things happen. And we just saw this. Uh, um, uh, what is it? TFX, the Bitcoin, or not
Yeah.
Bitcoin, but yeah.
But
So we're seeing cryptocurrency crashes, and it's all hollow and fraudulent. The beauty of housing is it's physical, it's real. So don't go for fast fix. Do your research, collaborate, and go far with what you want to do this year. Let's talk about resilience. Now, you've had FIG for, well, a decade now. This is awesome. You're 10 years old. Over 10 years. That's pretty awesome. That's got to be kind of in the statistics of a longer running nonprofit, because I think they're very hard. That's not just something you can throw up and it runs itself. Talk about a
absolutely.
time where you wouldn't be serving these women for alternate housing funding, and you wouldn't be doing what you're doing today. A time where it was that fork in the road, and without that sheer resiliency to push you forward, we wouldn't be having a conversation today.
So I would have to go back, Kim, to the late 90s when I was pregnant with my first daughter. Faith is what I named her, but I was 24 weeks pregnant. And it was right after a very heated argument with my then partner at the time. And the relationship was not the best. It was not the healthiest at all. And I was at my weakest emotionally. And my water broke. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And so ultimately went to the hospital. They said, hey, you're going to have to deliver this baby, but the chance of her surviving is slim. It's next to nothing because she is so young. And back then they didn't have the technology to, help with the lungs and breathing and so forth. And so I was induced, and I went through a long labor, probably about 8, 9 hours of labor. And I had this child and she wasn't breathing, and they had already warned me that this is going to be, that probably is going to happen. So when she came and I held her and I looked at her and I'm like, wow, this being that I created, that I made, is laying here so innocent and so perfect, but yet not viable, was a change and shift in my awareness of what was happening within my life. And I said, I got to do something different. This, you know, there's no way. How I've been living and how I've been operating has got to change, because what I'm holding is the most important thing. And so from that day forward was my journey to start healing and getting better, and becoming the woman that I ultimately knew I was. But had no understanding of myself. So I started investing into myself as opposed to the relationship or the outside entity of having this or having that. I started going within. And so my research began. And so that was my pivotal moment. And when I think about it, for so long, it was a sad moment, when you think about losing a child, but it's joyous, I say, because her coming for just that brief moment gave me life to continue to move on in a whole different direction. So that's why when I talk with women, I talk about trauma, and I talk about how a time in your life where you feel like you it can't get any worse can be the right moment to catapult you up to exactly where you need to be. We just have to be in that vulnerability and assess what's going on. And so that's what happened to me. Her coming made me go within and assess who I was.
And her coming, and we sometimes we don't see the blessings for truly the scope of which they've offered, because her passing through your life and leaving that indelible mark within you, right, on your soul,
Hmm. Hmm.
has affected how many people's lives? How many people have you served through FIG?
Oh my goodness. Right now, we're going into 150 women. And that is just with um, our programming, not the housing. So we have 10 houses right now that women are already ready to get into. And that's the whole a different side of the organization. So there have been a
So
over 100 women that we've served that we look at and we're like, we've changed lives, and women are
yep,
living better and being happier and being more fulfilled and understanding themselves.
and
Yeah,
it compounds those one that one woman plus the statistical 2 children now is 3 people, and those
absolutely.
2 children compound into 6 people, and it's a compounding effect. You fix one, and it just compounds and pays forward. It pays dividends forward. So, that is just amazing that that faith came into your world to create the pivotal point that you needed to help you see the worth within yourself. That's amazing, and what an appropriate name for her. Let's talk about your book. I'd love to share with us what your book, why, and what can the reader expect from it.
So, the path to emotional greatness was primarily written when I was going through all of the ups and downs and the battles emotionally. And I would always write because that was one of the fundamental things I was taught to understand myself. And so when I started doing my research and going within, I would write constantly. And so, this workbook is basically a book that has so many tactics and tools that are proven to change and shift your awareness and help you to understand yourself better. You know, most of the book, well, I'll tell you, Kim, the book was written with all of my journal entries over the last 17, 18 years, along with the tools that I developed in navigating emotional wellness. So this book was a very, very, very special to my heart because I put my heart and soul literally in it. And in the book, you can see how I changed from one year to the next, just in my writing and what was going on in my life. And what it's helping women to learn is that, if we do the steps and if we do the work, we can elevate ourselves, and we can become who we want to become, and come out a happier being. So this book is my gift. It was my gift to myself first and foremost, to show my path and my journey, and I've extended it for others to do the same.
Now, how can people get the book?
The book is available everywhere. Amazon is the most recognizable. So it's on Amazon.com. You just type in Kenya Lee on Amazon, or The Path to Emotional Greatness. Also, anyone that wants the book, they can go to emotionalgreatness.com and order there. But it's in
Tell
a
us
lot of retail stores.
Tell us a little bit about emotionalgreatness.com and what are the services? So if we're not in Detroit, can
Mhm.
is there other opportunities to engage with you, or how can we learn from you?
Absolutely. So you can go to www.faithandgirls.org, and we do have an online university that we are offering for women that are is interested in learning more tips and tools about themselves. You can put your information there, and definitely we will be glad to get with you and set up some times. And right now we're doing everything virtually because that's the way of the world, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, and also, I want to offer your listeners, if you go to the path to emotionalgreatness.com, I do have a free gift there for you in terms of a journal, so to speak, to start a preliminary to start out with. And it's got some good information, and it's very inspiring as well. And that's free to you if you go on and sign up.
Excellent. And all the tools are out there, folks. We can all do this. All the tools are out there. Um,
Mhm.
Walk us through. I always like to close on a quote. What is a quote that means something to you and why?
Um, one of the biggest quotes that I have is that I always was seeking consciousness, even when I wasn't aware of what it was I needed. Um, and that's so special to me because, even in my ignorance of myself, I always internally, and we all have it, we're always seeking consciousness, because that is what we are aspiring to do. We're aspiring to reach self-actualization. And so I always say, my goodness, no matter what happened and what went on, that was always at the core of me. Yeah.
That is beautiful and inspirational. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. So, you know what, ladies? Basically, know who you want to serve, know what is out there so you know what here. So, whether or not this is in a nonprofit or if you're moving and building a business this year, or working to grow your business, look around you. I'm sure that there's somebody that can help support you. And if you're needing that, I guess that that going that next level this year, moving that next level, do go over and check out Kenya's site. We'll have all that information in our show notes. But you know what, Kenya, I want to say thank you for sharing your time this morning with myself and the audience, and just great insight. Anything else you'd like to close with? You're amazing.
Thank you so much. I just would like to tell any woman that's struggling, or not necessarily even struggling, just want to see themselves in a different direction this year, that it's doable. I promise that it's doable. It's all about taking action steps. And if you do that, you can rise to wherever it is you want to travel to in your emotional well-being. So I encourage you to do that. And Kim, I thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, from this Detroit gal trying to go next level, and she's sharing everything. She's sharing. She's an open book, folks. Literally an open book. So do lean in. That is it for this show here at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. And by the way, if you are ever feeling that your resiliency is lagging that wee bit, listen and lean in. go to resilientgift.com. You can get signed up for our bi-monthly magazine where we feature amazing women from around North America and share all sorts of just fun tips and how you can engage and stay connected within our resilient community. If you are a speaker, a coach, author, entrepreneur, or you want to be any of those things, that's what we're talking about. Taking our space within this world because it's our time. It's our time and we got this. Oh, by the way, this year I am designating it the year of the Yeti. Yet I will. Yet I will. We are we're going to do the pink Yeti for 2023. Going Sasquatch, folks. Let the hair hang. Go pink Yeti. Yet I will. I may not know something today, yet I will learn it today. I may not have something today, yet I will earn it today. So every day, learn something, earn something. You've got this, ladies. Again, Kim Hayden here at Kim Talks Resilience. Thank you for joining us here today at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I'd love to invite you to our resilient community at resilientgift.com. That's resilientgift.com, and we'll send you our magazine and tickets for upcoming events and all sorts of cool things we do here. So be sure to keep watching, and you know what? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know that sharing is caring.